It is a new trend on social media and something we spoke about just last week. We are talking about women who are choosing the traditional or trad wife experience. But if you aren't familiar with it, take a look.
A man's home is his castle, so he should be treated as a king. He's working a stressful job, maybe working long hours, just so he can provide for you and the family. So he rightfully deserves peace. That being said, it's every wife's duty to appreciate her man and all his hard work.
So these videos have lots of people asking questions about what life is like when the cameras aren't on, and our next guest, Enitza Templeton, is advocating against this lifestyle based on her very own experience. Enitza, welcome to DBL.
So first, just paint a picture for us. Just explain about your experience, what being a trad wife was all about. What was a normal day like?
A normal day, well, you know, part of being a trad wife is having a lot of kids. So there was always a baby. So there was always a baby that had some early morning feed. So after that, I would put the baby down. The whole house was quiet. I would go and start the bread that we.
What time? Yeah.
Probably about 4 a.m. Because you know, like that 3:30. You know, that like weird feed that you're like, it's not time to get up, but I can't go back to sleep. Since I couldn't sleep, I would go start the bread for the day, like the bread we were gonna eat, and it wasn't sourdough. I made like yeast bread.
Wow.
It needed 2 rises. It was like an all-day thing. So I would start the bread. Then once the bread was done, the first round of the dough of rising was done, probably the kids would be getting up. I'd be getting them food, making them breakfast. If he was working at the time, I'd be helping him get ready for his day. You know, just the total support and backbone of the family, getting everything done and out the door. The day is filled with entertaining the kids, educating them, keeping them busy until it's time to make dinner and another home scratch-made meal, his favorite, whatever he loves. Make sure his day is perfect and wonderful and supported in every way, and then get the kids to bed, and then whatever wifely duties were left at the end of the night.
Were you ever supported?
I was wondering.
No. You ever asked how your day was?
No. Even after our second child had heart condition, she had 4 open heart surgeries, and even still, I was 9 months pregnant with my 3rd child when the second one was still having an open heart surgery. It was the traditional way, the family way. We got to keep having babies, keep it going. There was no support.
Wow.
Yeah.
I had a man joke, but I'm going to keep that in my pocket. All right. Obviously, online has glamorized all this. We just saw this video like TikTok. But what are some of the more sinister, is that the right word, sinister things that you've noticed? Sinister
is the absolute perfect word, because there is this movement of, you know, you being this traditional perfect little wife, and then you are beholden to these marriage vows, but they are not. You know, oh, he's had such a hard day, so he can come home and be stressed and have feelings and emotions and let them out, but you can't. You are the backbone for the family. You are to remain perfect and precious and support everybody. So it's really sinister when the human nature takes over, the ego gets really big, because any person who wants this much power, they want, no, honey, they're gonna lure you into this lifestyle with this promise of happily ever after, but the day-to-day gets really ugly. It is really sinister.
Is there any pushback? Like, what would happen if you pushed back against anything?
Oh, just shame. You are just made to feel like such a disappointment as a woman. A real woman would be okay with this decision.
Oh.
A real.
How manipulative.
Oh, absolutely. So much emotional manipulation going on. A real woman wouldn't have a hard time with this. Did I marry the wrong wife?
Wow. So you could never have a breakdown?
No.
That's psychological warfare.
Absolutely.
That is
yeah.
I appreciate your transparency, and and especially talking about, I think a lot of this is kind of bait and switch. It's a romanticization, and then when you get into it, you realize that you're trapped, because all of it does come down to a trap, whether it's emotional, financial, all of that. Now, a lot of people mentioned that this was the norm for women in older generations, most notably in the 1950s. So what is the difference between then and now?
The difference is women have abilities. You know, the Fair Credit Opportunity Act wasn't passed until 1974. So, of course, women in the 50s made it sound like it was great. They had no other choice. They're not going to talk bad about the hand that feeds them. You know, don't bite the hand that feeds you. They had no choice. But the women in the 50s and 60s fought really hard to break against it. The women in the 60s, 70s, and 80s pushed to continue getting our rights. And I think it's now that women have so many rights and divorce rates are up by 50% because women can leave, now there's this big push to get us back in the closet and back behind the men. And that's where I will not stay quiet. Absolutely not.
That Fairness Act just, you know, allowed us to have checking accounts and and credit card.
Yes.
Like that's how financially dependent you were.
Yes, you needed a man to sign for anything. You couldn't get a bank account. And with the wage gap the way that it is, and it always has been, it's better now than it was. So if you didn't even have a living wage, you couldn't get a bank account or a credit card.
Right.
Yeah. How were you supposed to live?
That's right.
I want to get this question in because I think it's really important to discern the difference. We have about a minute left.
Sure.
There is a difference between a trad wife and a stay-at-home mom or a homemaker.
Yeah.
Will you explain that?
A stay-at-home mom has respect. She can place boundaries. She can explore her desires, and she is supported in that, fully supported in that. A trad wife gives all autonomy and say in everything, decision-making to her husband. She is a traditional wife. She sits back and lets him handle everything. Whereas a stay-at-home mom, a homemaker, she takes pride in her. It is her home as well. You know, it's her space too.
Yeah, and she wants that support.
Yes.
And I would say stay-at-home moms, man, or dads, that's like the hardest job out there.
Hardest job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you. I'm blown away by you.
Very
I appreciate you.
Thank
Thank you so
you.
much, Enitza. Thank you for being here, for sharing your story. DBL Nation, if you want to hear more about Enitza's story and how she's changing her life, you can listen to her podcast, Emerging Motherhood, on Apple Podcasts. Excuse me. Thank you again. We'll be right back.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Thank you. Oh, thank you.
Thank you.